Hey, I'm shooting this as kind of an afterthought, but we're about to do the video where I go through how to make this cool custom knife that came with the last BattlBox. Before I do that, I just want to put it out there. Everybody's scales from the giveaway and JC, your mystery box, it's all shipped. I apologize, I got a little bit behind with holidays and lots of stuff going on. You guys know that happens to me a lot. My life is crazy. I should write a book. But anyway, stuff is all on the way. Now enjoy the video. Hey guys, I'm back, and today I'm doing sort of an impromptu project. Somebody had mentioned that they really liked in the last BattlBox the Pathfinder knife shop knife, the kind of build-it-yourself, do-it-yourself knife. And I said, yeah, that's pretty cool, and they said, what are you going to do with it? So I said, you know what, that'd be a good video. It's a simple project. It looks like it'll come out really nice. There's an instructional video that they send out on how to do this. It's a very simple build. Wouldn't need that video anyway, but it's informative, you know, if you've never done something like this. So I figured, what the hell. So here's what you get inside the box. You get this pre-drilled, I won't say sharpened, but it's got a nice bevel on it. They call this, it's a wire edge, but you need to do the final sharpening and honing of it. It's blackened just from the heat treat, so it's not coated or anything like that. So I'm thinking we're going to take this black finish off with the work we're going to do. But it's a nice, simple, fixed blade knife. I think it's got a lot of potential. So you get your blade. You also get a pair of walnut scales that are CNC'd, so they're kind of pre-cut to fit on there. And you get 2 pins to put the handles together. One gives you a lanyard hole as well, and the other is just a simple pin that puts it together. So these are not finished, because you've got to do the finishing on your own. But they're just some simple walnut wood scales, very, very lightweight wood. But you can see they're pretty rough, because you do the finishing yourself. However, I'm not a fan of wood handles. I mean, they're nice. They've got a good grain to them. They can look very well done when finished, but I just didn't want the wood look. And to give you an idea, if you put it together, it looks something like this, and then we finish it off and do the sanding and put it all together. And it's a very, very fat handle. Not uncomfortable. I want it just slightly smaller than that, though. I decided that the scales I wanted to work with are going to be a combination of this natural G10. This is what they call the natural color. All right, we're going to have them on the inside, and we're going to mate them up with the cantaloupe color. These are 1/8 inch thick, and these are 1/4 inch thick. And it's kind of hard to put the knife blank in there now and to estimate how it's going to feel when it's all done, because it is very big in terms of the width right there, so it's not contoured or anything. But I think it's going to be a nice feel. I think it's going to be a nice size. It's going to look really good, and we'll finish it off, and it'll be kind of cool. We're going to need some epoxy both to hold the 2 parts of the scale together, so that when we machine it, it comes out as one solid piece. And also we're going to use the epoxy to help, even though we're putting the pins in, to help hold it all to the knife itself. We're going to need some sandpaper just to get this all going, because we want to take off some of that black coating and rough up the scales to get them to stick and everything. You guys have seen how we composite them together, but we'll do it again anyway. I decided to work outside. I usually like working outside because it gets me outside. To start with, all we're going to do is we're going to take this 300 grit sandpaper, and we are just going to rough up the sides of the G10, and we'll repeat with our honeydew side. Now we're going to work to take some of the finish off of this blade right here. This is going to take me a minute. Okay, so I cheated a little bit. I did some sandpaper on the handle area just because, again, we needed to rough that up and get a surface for the epoxy to stick to. But I put this on a belt sander just to get a nice, even... I didn't want it like mirror shiny. I still want it to look handmade. So I want some grind lines in it, and see we accomplished that. But it's a really nice finish, too. It really reflects the light really well. Kind of matches the bevel almost. Slightly finer grind on the flat than on the bevel. Don't worry about that, that'll wash. That's just dust caught in the grain there. But it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? All right, because I'm working outside, I'm gonna just mix the epoxy right on the scale. That should be enough. to mix up and coat this good enough to stick. I don't know if you had never worked with epoxy, you know it's mixed when it smells like burning hair. And if you don't know what burning hair smells like, good on you, I guess. I don't know. So this is actually even more than we need. It's going to make a nice tight bond. I'll try to get it as even as possible across the scale. And just mush it down onto there. Let it set into place, and then we'll clamp it. I'm going to use a C-clamp and one of these little tension clamps because I can't find the other of either. So I've got one of each. But it should work just... Whoa, sorry about that. Should work just fine. Now, we're just kind of stuck letting this sit for a little bit. This is 5-minute epoxy, so it'll set in 5 minutes. But you still want to give it longer than that to cure and get ready to work. Well, it's dark out now. I gave these things about 4 hours to really dry up and solidify. It's going to take about 24 hours for them to be fully cured, but right now it's good enough for us to work with them. I'll lay the blade in there, and I'm going to use the knife itself as the template for drilling holes. We're going to cut a little more than we need, of course, so that we can then shape the whole scale to what we want when we're done. But I'm just going to clamp this down and then use the hole in the scale as a guide and get going with this. Now these are perfectly drilled, and now I'm just going to match the other scale up to this one and repeat those holes. I like the shape and the angle of the wood scales that came in the kit, so I'm going to use them just as a guide to put that same shape, or rather that same angle, into the front of the scales that we're using. So I got a little bit of an angle there ground in to the scale. It's obviously impossible to see the finished shape right now, but what I'm going to do is get the epoxy on the knife and the scales. I'm going to hammer in these pins, and then I'm going to clamp it to hold it tight, and then wait another 4 hours, and we're going to see this thing start to take shape. So, yeah, that looks messy, but it'll be fine when we clean it up. So I've got the scales epoxied. I've got the brass pins through, both front and back. I'm holding it by a paper towel just to avoid getting any epoxy on the blade that might be on my hands. So now all we can do is let this dry and then continue working. Alright guys, so the epoxy has mostly cured. Again, let it sit for about 4 hours. Went out to see Rogue One with my dad and my brother and Aiden. Second time seeing it, it's even better the second time. But I unclamped it, and then I did some rough work, and I know that looks messy. That's just from some epoxy on my hands, and don't worry, that's all I'm going to be cleaned up. So it's okay that it looks kind of rough now. But this is the rough shape of how it's going to look out. Look how nice the blade grind came out. I really like the look of that. Got a couple areas to touch up a little bit, but I think I'm going to leave it like that rather than polishing any further and buffing it out. But so here we go, starting to have the shape of a knife. So I'm going to let the rest of it sit overnight, and then tomorrow, in daylight hours, I'll continue to refine the shape. We'll get it matched right down to the blade. So it's daylight again, and I've been working on this, and you can see we've got the shape pretty much done. We've got a nice looking blade. So now it's time to do some grinding to get these pins flush and then do some contouring to make this a comfortable handle. But it's coming out really nice, and it's a really, really simple job too. So it still looks rough, but we've got it all shaped, and I started the contour. I'm going to finish it by sanding by hand. I did this with a drum sander in the drill press and with the Dremel just to get the general shape down. But everything is now nice and flush, looking good, and what I'm going to do is sand by hand to get this nice and smooth and rounded to get a real comfortable grip on this, and then you'll see how the colors kind of pop out when we're all done. Looks kind of like a kitchen knife to me, but I think it's going to be very, very nice when it's all finished. And with just a little bit of work, we have a finished product. I'm very happy with it. I really like the contrast between the two G10 colors and how they look. It almost looks like it should glow in the dark. It doesn't, but it looks like it should. And this is not a perfect product. I'm trying to demonstrate that with a little bit of knowledge and some simple tools, you can make this come out really quick and really easy. I really, really like the two different colors, though. I thought I was going to bring the bevel even further, so you know, from the side view, you'd see some of the natural color, and then the honeydew, which I keep calling cantaloupe for some reason. I need to do a little bit refining right there and right there, but I mean, this looks really, really nice. The light catches it really great, and custom-made knife. And I mean, if you add up the time, it's really just a few hours worth of work. There's a lot of time involved in letting the epoxy dry and stuff. Had to do a lot of sanding, so I sanded this from 320 grit all the way to 1000 grit. A little discoloration on the G10 there. That's not my fault, really. Just wasn't a perfect piece of G10, but I really do like the color anyway. Nice smooth handle. Still looks kind of like a kitchen knife to me, and I might use it in the kitchen, but I just used a simple little whetstone with some basic sharpening techniques to put an edge on there, and I mean, it sharpens up perfectly with just a little bit of, it's a great edge. So there you go. Very simple project. Should do a giveaway on this one, you think? Should I keep it? What do you guys think? I really like the smooth feel, and I like it a lot better than the wood handle that would have gone on it. So yeah, nice project, nice project. Anyway, there we go. Just a little demo. You know, you can look into this. I'll put the information for the company in the description of the video, and you can look it up. And thank you, BattlBox, for putting this in the latest box. This is pretty cool. I like it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, again, besides kitchen work, but might have to make a sheath for it or something. I don't know. Unless you guys vote on giving it away. We'll see. All right. That's it for this video. I'm going to go immediately into unboxing this and taking a look at it. You'll have to check out the next video to find out what it is, but thanks a lot, guys. I'll be back again real soon.